All right, it's 7 o'clock. It's time for Chuck and Pat talking about real estate. We still don't have a name for our show.
It's just the Chuck and Pat show. It's fine.
All
right, we're going to take a quiz to see what we should call it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know what we should call this one. The worst episode ever.
Yeah.
This is, we're unprepared tonight, so
That's all right.
This is going to go one way or the other. It's either going to be the most awesome one we've ever done,
it's gonna be
or it's
great.
going to be lame. So we're going to see how it goes. We've got a few people signing on already, so
Hi, Karen and Debbie.
I hope it goes good.
Yeah.
So, man, I didn't get to fly my drone today.
Oh, Bob Aiva joined us. Bob, we haven't seen you in forever.
Bob, man.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I hope you're doing well. We really like you.
We do.
Yeah. So I hope you're doing really well.
Yeah.
So anyway, bad weather today. Didn't get to fly my drone.
I know.
So we've, a lot of the properties around here, what makes them valuable is their proximity to water and the surrounding area and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our own drones. So we don't have to wait to schedule someone to come out.
And Chuck is a licensed drone operator, by the way.
Yeah.
And he follows all the rules and regulations of it. I know we weren't going to talk about this, but there are a lot of rules and regulations for flying a drone. You can't just fly it in airspace that might be around. Well, you talk about it. You know more.
Well, I think what the rules say is you can't fly it willy-nilly.
There you go. Willy-nilly.
So, no, there's a lot of rules. And if it's for commercial use, which obviously real estate is commercial use,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be a licensed operator and
Right.
following all the rules.
Yeah.
So that's, it's unfortunate. We had inclement weather today, so
Mm-hmm.
it was not conducive to doing videos. So we're going to have to wait for another day, maybe tomorrow.
Yep.
Let's see, we're at one of our networking things this morning. There's two networking groups that we go to. One of them is called RGA, and then the other one that we were at this morning is called KMA,
Right.
KMA Mastermind Alliance.
Right.
And those are the two networking groups that we go to, and they're really awesome. We really get a lot out of it.
They are. If anybody wants to join us, just message us and you can come one day.
Or if you want to talk about networking and stuff
Yeah.
like that, we can tell you how it's done, because we've really gotten a lot out of networking. And I mean, last year, that's where the majority of our business came from.
A lot did.
Was networking, and also, people that we know.
Yep.
Which, how do you get to know people? Networking. So anyway, getting around to it, a good question came up with, how do we decide who we're going to recommend? Because we recommend a lot of people. We recommend cleaners. Matter of fact, Joanne just joined us.
Joanne Brasio.
From Made to Order. That's the
right.
cleaning service that we recommend.
That's right.
And we recommend construction folks. We recommend mortgage people. And one thing I think everybody should know is that we don't get anything from any of these people.
That's right. Well, we do get something. We get peace of mind. I said that today.
Yes. Well, anyway, we don't get anything monetarily.
No.
We don't get any special anything for recommending them. The reason why we recommend them is because they are people we trust.
Mm-hmm.
And it's if someone's doing a good job for our people, it makes us look better, and it makes our job easier. Like, for example, the mortgage person, vital to a transaction. If the mortgage person does a great job and is really on top of everything, things go so smoothly. It's just true. Amazing. But if the mortgage person is not on top of things, it can really throw a lot of wrenches in the gears. So
I think having a personal relationship with, let's say, the mortgage person is vital to a successful transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah, mortgage, the title company, the inspector.
The inspectors.
Oh, we've got a story about inspector coming up in just a few minutes too.
Yes.
So anyway, the way we decide who we're going to recommend is it's solely by who we know is going to do a great job. That's it. Sometimes we'll recommend more than one person, or frequently it'll be like, oh, okay, this is the person that is going to suit you in your situation, whatever it may be.
It's true.
This person specializes in you, and just call him or her, and things go really smoothly because of it. So
that's true.
So that's how we decide. And let's see. Hang on.
If you guys have any questions,
I've got a dog problem here. Hang tight.
Lucky.
We got Lucky the dog here today. I don't know if you noticed. He's little. He's kind of dragging butt today. He's kind of sore. He's an old dog, so.
And he's got arthritis.
Yeah, it's unfortunate,
So.
but we're trying to be extra nice to him in his old age.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, lucky boy?
Right.
All right. Another question, we've kind of got on this whole real estate conversation, which we invariably do everywhere we go because people have lots of questions and like, okay, so what's a standard commission for you guys? And the true answer is there is no standard. It may be true that a lot of people charge a similar amount, but there isn't really a standard, and we're not even allowed to have a standard. What about it's called the Sherman Antitrust Law.
That's
and
right.
We just had a big debate about this with some other realtors.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to explain that, Pat?
So there's a Facebook page. I'm not going to say what it was, but there was probably, 100 and something people on there discussing commissions. And so independently of each other, we went on there and told them that they were violating Sherman Antitrust Act. And they just were like going crazy. It's okay. And that's not true because you can't really discuss that.
Well, the thing is that now, of course, Pat and I can discuss commissions and things in our own office.
Right.
Because, it's in the office. That's important. That's something we have to discuss. But if we were to sit down with another realtor at another office and start talking about commissions,
right.
Well, that's against the law.
It is against the law. And if you want to know more about it, you can ask us. But we can send it over to you.
Yeah, we don't want to bore you guys with all that.
No, we're not going to bore you with it.
Yeah, because unless you're a realtor, it doesn't really matter.
No.
Although I do know other professions have similar things where they fall under that.
That's true. So what about the networking? What the question was today. How do I differentiate my house?
Yeah, how do you make your place stand out? So I've got a couple right off the bat. Is that the first thing we do is we find out what the competition is, because everybody focuses on comps and what sold in the last 6 months within similar area and all that stuff, and that's all very important for setting the price of your property that you're going to list it for. But one thing that's very important is that you see what the competition is, because it's just like any other kind of selling. If there are very few properties like yours available and yours is a desirable kind of thing, like 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses, we can always sell those quick because they're always in high demand.
That's true.
So if there's a million other ones just like yours for a lower price, well, guess which ones are going to sell first?
Ding, ding, ding.
Right. So we take a look at what the competition is and kind of look at it from a consumer standpoint, where if we were going to go look for a house today, like the one that we're listing, what would we be doing? How would we make a decision which ones to go look at and which ones not to look at? And then ultimately, which one would we probably decide to purchase over the others? So it's price, condition, and location. Those are the 3 most important things.
Always.
So we compare what we're listing against the competition in those 3 areas. And those are really the 3 areas that determine the value of a property: price, condition, and location. So it's all about the competition, really.
It is.
At that point, not so much about comps and what things sold for 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm. That's true. But to differentiate, and what Valerie was asking us this morning is she lives in, I guess it's a deed restricted community where, they have to have certain colors for their doors. Because I asked her, can you paint your door color? And she said, no, it has to be standard. So she wants to know, well, okay, there's other townhomes for sale in my development. How can I make mine look different? So washing your windows, and I know that sounds crazy, but washing your windows and keeping the outside of the home impeccable will absolutely make a difference. It'll make the difference on the inside too, because you get a lot more light on the inside.
Oh, I got a comment on that.
Yeah.
Because one thing a lot of folks don't know is I used to be a commercial photographer. And get this, we can measure the light coming through the window, wash the window, just an average dirty window, not one that's filthy, just like, well,
not washed in a while.
Can I say the ones like on the front of our house?
Yeah, the ones on front of our house.
Yeah, just an average window. You clean that window, it will let in twice as much light as one that's just got the usual layer of grime on it that it just gets from being outside.
Exactly.
That's pretty compelling if you ask me. It is compelling.
So if looking nice from the outside is really going to make the difference for someone to stop.
Mhm.
And one other thing is mulching the front yard and putting in some nice seasonal plants, because she's in Florida right here, Valerie. So she could, she could definitely do that. And maybe putting kind of a wreath on the door or something to make it look and appear different than the others.
Kind of welcoming.
Kind of welcoming, yes. And maybe even changing the doorknob. That would be something also that they could do. Nice and shiny. Nice and shiny,
That first appearance.
It's all about first appearances. So
that's a good one, Pat.
Yeah, in order to differentiate, there's a lot of things that you can do. And then, of course, on the inside, we could go all day long about what to do on the inside. And she's done most of that.
Yeah. And, of course, if you've got questions about any of this stuff, we'll sit down and have some coffee with you or whatever, and we'll tell you everything you want to know. But we don't want to go on and belabor the topic.
No.
There was one other question that came up during our meeting, and I overlooked it when I was looking at my notes, was about referral fees. Can we give someone a referral fee for referring us to a customer?
And who do you mean by just someone?
Well, let's just say one of our friends.
Okay.
It's like, hey, Pat, I got this this person, they're looking to sell their house. Can you give me a little referral fee for that?
Yeah.
So
what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, lots of other businesses do that.
Yes,
Makes sense.
Do.
A lot of businesses do, but
not in real estate.
We're not allowed to. Matter of fact, it's a felony if we do.
Yep.
So if you ask us about a little referral fee or something like that, if it has any kind of connection to closing a piece of business, it's not legal.
That's right.
It just isn't.
The only referral fee we can do is with other realtors.
But you will have our undying thanks and gratitude. I mean, that's worth something, isn't it?
That is worth something.
It's worth a lot. I mean, we obviously would be very, very grateful, and we are grateful, because did you know that more than half our business last year came from referral? Well, you do know that.
I do know that.
I'm acting like, oh, it's news, but
it isn't.
Because you and I sat down and figured it out together.
We did. We figured it out.
Yeah, when you're doing business, referrals are gold. Because
they are yeah, they are.
Because the people already have a little bit of trust for you when you walk in the door, and it just makes everything go so much more smoothly, because there's that little trust component that's built in.
Yep.
So how's our worst show ever going so far, you think?
I don't know.
For those of you that...
Oh, Joe Hogan is on here. Thank you, Joe.
Joe, our friend in...
Hawaii.
Which island? Joe, man, I'm sorry. I don't remember which
Maui,
island,
I think.
Joe. But our friend in Hawaii, and we're so looking forward to seeing you in Las Vegas next week. So that's going to be really great at our NextHome conference. As Pat and I go every year. And
it's our 4th year.
Yeah, we're really committed, because there's a lot of education that happens at these things. It's really great. And a lot of education, a lot of networking, a lot of learning from other realtors in other parts of the country. If you're a realtor, you need to go to your conferences, because, oh man, I come back with a head full of knowledge.
And just the networking too is wonderful.
Yeah,
so Joe said that just happened to him, and you
don't want to seem cheap.
No, but you can't do it. Yeah, he's in Maui.
Maui. Okay.
Yeah. I thought so.
Good. So yeah, unfortunately we can't do that. A lot of people, they'll try and rationalize things. Oh, well, I didn't give them cash. I gave them this or that.
Nope.
It's still illegal.
Yes, it is.
And Pat and I are by the book kind of people. We don't want to jeopardize anything by, skirting around the rules and things. It's never worth it.
No, not at all. So I came up with some other things to talk about.
Well, what you got there, Pat?
Okay, so I found an article which I thought was really great. It's 5 unwritten etiquette rules home buyers might not even realize are a big deal.
There's only 5?
Well, this is just the tip of the iceberg. So you see a house online that you love, and so what do? Do you call that listing agent? No.
I think that's what most people do.
Don't call the listing agent, because what's going to happen is then you are not really being represented. You are represented by the listing agent. They may not give you everything that you want in terms of permits or surveys or plot plans or knowing when anything was done on the house. And what if they say it's all new electric and plumbing and a new roof, and then you come to find out after you bought it that permits weren't pulled for any of those things, and you have a huge hole in your ceiling or something. No.
Oh, here we go on the permit thing.
You know me with my permits. So
no, I'd like
really
to
need to
expand on that.
Yeah, you really need to have your own agent representing you, because that's going to be the best way to negotiate. And we're certified negotiation experts, by the way.
And Pat's from New York.
And I'm from New York.
So there. Well, I think one thing, Pat, is that most people believe that if they go directly to the listing agent that they'll save money.
That's true.
And that's not true, because the amount of commission that agent's going to get for selling that house has already been set. And it's agreed on before the house goes on the market. So there's not going to be any savings for you. In fact, usually it's the opposite, because if the listing agent, now assumably they're going to treat you fairly, and they do have to treat you fairly and honestly, but you can't serve two masters. And if it comes down to negotiating, or if it comes down to trying to figure things out, you're probably not going to get as vigorous a defense as we would give. So,
yeah, I think that's really good.
but wait, there's more. I don't want to get off of this, because a lot of people misunderstand that the agent that represents the buyer does not get paid by the buyer. It's paid from the commission that's already preset. It's already agreed to. So when, let's say we've got a listing coming up here in a few days, we've already agreed what the commission's going to be, and we've agreed that when it sells, whoever brings the buyer is going to get half the commission, and then we get half the commission. That's already set in stone. It is not changeable. So if, let's say we got lucky and somebody believed they were going to save money and they called us direct, then we would get what we call in our business both sides, and which that does happen occasionally. And it's great when it does, because then we just get to have all the commission. But I got to tell you, I prefer it when the other side has an agent.
I know you do.
Because it just, even though we strive to be fair and honest and ethical in everything we do, when it comes down to negotiating, it's impossible to be 100%.
I think for you to,
neutral,
if you're going out looking for houses, you really should have your own agent, because they're going to have your best interest in mind. So
yeah, particularly if there's a problem.
That's true.
And
that's true.
And we just heard about one today.
We did.
Where I don't want to reveal too much, because many of our friends know each other, but this person purchased a home, and there was a defect in that home that they specifically did not want a house with this particular feature. And lo and behold, they got a house that had this thing that they didn't want in it. It has to do with the mechanicals of the house. Well, it could and should have been known about. And we were just on their behalf, just kind of looking over the paperwork. And there are disclosures for everything. Here in Florida anyway, there's a 3-page disclosure sheet where it asks all kinds of questions. And one of the questions was this particular item, this mechanical item in the house. And
it wasn't checked off.
It wasn't checked. So
now when we
would have caught that.
We would have caught that and sent it back to the selling agent, and we would have asked for it to be checked off.
Yeah, because it has to be
boxes
answered.
all the boxes on the seller's disclosures must be checked off, and if they're not, it goes back.
Yeah,
it can't but just be, it's an oversight, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and that's not to criticize the other agent, because this particular form, it's got a million check boxes on it. It's somewhat confusing the way things are worded, and so I'm not criticizing the other agent, but
no,
it's just underscores the importance of having a very experienced agent that really goes through line by line, and having two people. Well, yeah, we look at each other's work, which is wonderful. Yeah, because we catch each other's, things happens. That might be an oversight. So having another set of eyes is really, really important. Yeah, I
And we're
think
very
I know you've
fortunate.
saved me many a time
Well, you
of
too.
having to go back and then have something filled out again
Right.
because I overlooked it.
Yeah, it's really good to have
happened
another
a
set of
few times.
eyes to take a look at it. So if you're a realtor on here, or just anybody going into a contract or anything, have another set of eyes look at it. Even an attorney if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
yeah.
So what else you got there, Pat?
So
I think Lucky's bored.
don't ask your agent to show you homes until you sign a buyer broker agreement.
Why would someone want to do that?
Well, be prepared to sign a buyer's agreement so that the buyer's agent knows you are serious and ready to go. From a consumer protection standpoint, it's a good thing for all involved. Mm-hmm. And we do buyer broker agreements. It shows that we are committed for you. It outlines everything that we will be doing for you. And also it outlines what you as the buyer must do. So we really like buyer broker agreements with people because it really shows a commitment on our side and also their side. Can you add anything to that?
Yeah,
or?
Well, I got to tell you, before I was a realtor, I always used to hate paperwork and agreements and written down stuff. And I, now that after becoming a realtor, now years later, I really understand the importance of it, because if you've got something on a piece of paper that outlines, okay, here's what we're going to do, this, and this, here's what you're going to do, this, and this, then there's no misunderstandings, and nobody gets angry at the end because, well, I thought you were going to do that. And like, right. No, you were supposed to do that. And it just helps to avoid any misunderstandings. And it truly makes things go much more smoothly. I wish I'd known that earlier in my previous career.
Sure. Yeah. So I want to say hi to Josie and Jennifer, and Rob joined us, and Mabel. Hi, how are you?
Hi, everybody.
And Edward Sanchez.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Hey, everybody who joined.
I got a lot of nice folks on tonight.
Yes.
On our worst show ever. I've declared it that because we're unprepared tonight.
We were unprepared, but now
we're doing okay.
We're kind of prepared now.
We're kind of getting with it.
So when we put in an offer on a house for any buyers, they have to have a pre-approval. And actually, most listing agents will put in multiple listing service. Pre-approval letter must be attached to the offer.
That's right. If I'm a seller, and usually the way the market is right now, usually we get more than one offer. And if one comes in and, there's no proof whatsoever, they don't have proof of funds, they don't have a pre-approval letter. Well, we don't know if they can even close. They may not even have any money.
Right.
So looking at it from the seller's point of view, the seller's going to have to take it off the market for maybe even a month. Well, everything goes through the process, only to find out at the end they can't close.
Yeah,
because they couldn't get their loan. We would always advise a seller not to accept an offer without it.
Yep.
And most folks won't even consider an offer without it. Yeah. So that's why we always, whenever you come to us, we're always like, okay, do you have a pre-approval letter or proof of funds? And if you don't, we're going to send you to a mortgage broker first before we go shopping, because invariably you're going to fall in love with a place and then find out, maybe you don't qualify for that.
So proof of funds, that's a really good thing, because we do have a lot of cash buyers down here. Mm-hmm. And we have to have proof of funds. And that means, a copy of their bank statement with, the account numbers blocked out. Yeah, so that kind of thing. But they do have to show.
Or a letter from the bank.
Or a letter from the bank. Yes, that's correct. So, hey, Mark, how are you? So don't make an offer without the mortgage pre-approval. And they wrote, don't be late to home showings or bail entirely on home showings.
Oh, that's such a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah. So that works both on the seller and the buyer's side.
Yeah, let me tell you the seller's side of that, because just the way it works out with Pat and I, Pat usually takes care of buyers and I usually take care of sellers as far as, kind of taking the lead. We work together on everything, obviously.
Right.
But okay, so consider this. People, they're still living in the house, but they're trying to sell it. So if somebody's going to come see the house, they got to grab the dog and the kids, load everybody in the car.
2 dogs.
Go down the road, go find something to do for an hour.
They got to get everybody out.
And scramble around, stick all their laundry under the bed so you don't see it, and get everything all spiffed up, and then get out the door for an hour or whatever, and then you don't show up. or you show up 45 minutes late and you're still there when they come back and they have to
Yeah.
circle the block for half an hour.
Yeah.
It's very inconvenient for them.
It's disrespectful on
It
both
is.
sides, really.
It is.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, from an agent standpoint, what I think doesn't matter because we're here to serve people and not ourselves. But standing around it's not fun because usually it's hot. And
So the other week I showed 15 houses. It was on a Saturday, I believe, and it was from an out-of-state buyer. So those were timed and mapped out. So we had to time it appropriately for, okay, so how long are we going to stay in the house? The most usually is just 10 minutes, the most, not even. Sometimes we're in and out.
Because usually they walk in, they're like, nah, that's not.
Right.
This
Sometimes it
isn't what
could
we're
be real
looking for.
quick. So if it's a vacant house, that's wonderful. But if it's one that's an owner occupied, that's also on the list of going to see. And it all has to be very timely.
You are the master of that, too.
I'm really good at it.
Mhm.
What was the maximum? 21 houses in one day I showed?
Yeah, I think it's 21 in a day.
21. And that was in 3 different counties. And so Blanca, who is a realtor, she's actually a broker associate now, I believe. And she says just plain disrespectful, which is true.
Yeah, it really
it's
is.
just plain disrespectful for buyers not to show up.
Yeah, I remember the day that you showed 21 houses.
Oh, yeah.
I showed 5 houses and I came home like, oh, man, it's a long day. It's hot
That was so
outside.
funny.
And, I think I need to
I
take
came
a
home
nap.
at like 9:30 at night, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're
Yeah,
late
how'd
home."
you make out today? Oh, I showed 5 houses.
I showed it 5 houses,
Oh my
but
God.
there's a caveat with this. He showed the 5 houses in the Volkswagen Carmen Ghia in like August. It
That was
doesn't
not
have the
the
air
smartest-
conditioning.
But, we hadn't had the Carmen Ghia very long.
No,
so
and
we
you
still
didn't
had that knowledge.
realize?
Like, I'm going to drive the Carmen Ghia. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
Until
never again.
About the second house, and I'm drenched.
I know, it was terrible.
There's no air conditioning in that thing.
No air conditioning yet. We're gonna probably get air conditioning.
It will, yeah.
So don't pretend you're ready to buy if you're really not. So that goes back to getting a pre-approval in my mind, because we're not going to take you around. Now, when our office was down on the beaches, we did make sure that the people did have some kind of proof, or we could verify something before, because we didn't want to take them around if they weren't really serious. Like they would just, like you're a tour guide. We're not tour guides.
And it's a colossal inconvenience for
It
the
is.
sellers.
It's really inconvenient.
And it's just very disrespectful.
So
to
those
them.
were the 5 things that we touched on. So
That was awesome.
yeah, so don't call the listing agent, sign the buyer broker agreement, and don't make an offer without the mortgage pre-approval. Don't be late, and don't pretend you're ready to buy if you're really not.
We ended up coming up with a lot of good stuff tonight.
We did, and I can't believe we're almost finished.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
1 more minute, so please ask a question
So do you guys
that we can
have-
answer for 1 minute.
Yeah,
Because our goal is to do 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Every Tuesday night, right here on Pat's Facebook page, 30 minutes every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So that's what we try and do.
So Thursday, we're going to be heading out to Henderson, Nevada, which is outside of Las Vegas. And we're really looking forward to that. We're going to do like Death Valley. We're going to go to Death Valley and do some.
And we may or may not be doing our Thursday real estate show next
Tuesday.
week because,
That Thursday.
it's Tuesday. Never mind.
He always says Thursday. I don't know why.
Well, it starts with a T.
Okay.
All right. Just listen to Pat, not me on this. What day is it going to be?
Tuesday,
And it's
But
going to
we're
be
not
from,
Las Vegas, but it won't be because we're going to be busy.
well, on Tuesday?
Yes, we are.
What do we have going on Tuesday?
Tuesday,
The conference isn't Tuesday.
It's Monday. It starts Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The
Really?
conference starts on Tuesday.
Really?
Yes, we arrive on the hotel at the Cosmopolitan on Monday.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, it starts on Tuesday. And then, so we have like a thing right after all day long being at the conference. We have to be dressed in all of our orange. As you can see, our
All
whole
right.
thing is orange.
So we will not see you next week.
No, we're not going to see
We'll
you
be
next
back
week.
the following weeks. We're
We'll
going
be back the following
we're going to be
week.
busy learning things at the real estate
Yeah.
conference and seeing our friend Joe Hogan from I almost said
Maui.
Miami. Maui.
Yes, from Maui. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. We have actually, I pulled up a whole bunch of other stuff to do today, but we're going to save it for the next time. I'll just give you a tidbit though. It's 184 tasks that realtors do.
And of course, if you
and
know
there's more than that actually, but I have printed out 184.
Oh, you stepped on my big clothes.
What you going to say?
Oh, if you know anybody that's thinking about moving, we really want to talk with them. We want to help them out.
Yes.
So just give it some thought.
Hey, Gus, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you're just in time because we're done.
We're done. I'm sorry you didn't get on earlier.
But you can watch the recording. So on behalf of me and Pat and Lucky the dog, who's just now waking up, I hope you have a great Tuesday night, and we will see you not next week because of the conference, but week after next.
Week after next. You guys have a really, really great night, and thanks all y'all for joining on.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye.